Hey everybody, just a quick message from Bald and Bonkers Network. We would like to remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
It does not matter where you stand, nor what it is you feel is grand. Magic is all around. Magic is never gone, and it is more than you will ever know. Entrust us, entrust her. For here you will find that the lost magics have never disappeared.
Hello guys, and welcome to our Friday night show with Sherry Brent, myself. Tonight we are doing the show from the Lost Magics. I am going to be joined by Curtis. He has some stories that he's going to be sharing with you at the end of the show to do with the Wendigo and some experiences and the legends around his home place that he lives in. But before that, I will be doing my research and intake on what I found on the Wendigo and what I know. And I'm going to be speaking to you guys. You guys are more than welcome to ask questions or ask anything in the room. We will stop between show so we can talk to you. So I'm just going to bring up lovely Curtis quickly so he's not left in the basement where the Wendigo can get him. So let's bring him up. There you go. Hello, Curtis. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Sherry?
I am brilliant. Would you like to say anything to you guys in the room? Because obviously they get here to see you as well.
I'm excited to be here. I love your shows, and every time I'm on here, I just love it.
And I'm very honoured that you like my shows and that you enjoy being on there. That really makes me happy. Hello, pups. Hello, Wayne. Hope you're all okay. Please, can I ask you all, please share these shows out. It really does help us as content creators and the workers that we are. So without going anywhere else, we'll now start on the show. So I'm going to be talking to you about the Wendigo. Now, for anyone that knows that it is supposed to be a mythological creature that is by some said to actually be real. Some people say they've endured the Wendigo or they've had a sighting. There's others that say that it's not real, it's a mythological creature, but that's why there's such people as us as investigators to find out the facts and the truth. And in all fairness, through all of the speculations and so-called sightings, it's really not something you can really ignore, is it? Because there seems to be a lot of stories about them. Now, the story behind it is either you can become a Wendigo through magic and doing certain things, you can be brought through to becoming a Wendigo, but there is also another legend that there was a hunter, that was a man that was out and got lost, and he had to eat the body of another human, and because of this he turned to becoming a Wendigo and seeked the hunger of human's flesh that turned him into this crazed monster. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information on that. And I'm also going to bring in the Skinwalker slightly as well, because the Skinwalker is a relative to this and is very similar. So there is a little bit on that as well, guys. And then, like I said, we'll get to Curtis's after. We've got a little video from him and a few pictures. I've got some pictures as well that I'll put up as well. So let's get on with the show. If I can just ask you, Curtis, just to mute your mic so that they can hear me clearly, that would be brilliant. Thank you. Right, let's bring this up. So first we're going to start off with a few little factual parts about the Wendigo, okay? So just some questions that people may ask about it. So what power does the Wendigo have? The Wendigo is said to invoke feelings of unstable greed and hunger, the desire to cannibalism other humans, and the possibility to commit murder in those that fall under its influence. Number 2. Who was the first Wendigo? As the tale goes, the first ever Wendigo was once a lost hunter. During a brutal cold winter, the man's intense hunger drove him to cannibalism. After feasting on another human's flesh, he transformed into a crazed man-beast, roaming the forests in search of more people to eat. How long can a Wendigo live? Immortality. Wendigos can live forever. Super speed Wendigos possess inhuman speeds of 108 kilometers per hour, enough to move from one place to another in seconds. What does the Wendigo symbolize? The Wendigo or Wendigoan is a supernatural being belonging to the spiritual traditions of Algonquin speaking First Nation in North America. Wendigos are described as powerful monsters that have the desire to kill and eat their victims. In most legends, humans transform into Wendigos because of their greed or wickedness. So don't do any of those things. What happens when a Wendigo dies? Death releases the Wendigo spirit into the air. So in other words, it disappears and it goes over to its realm where it's supposed to, and it obviously faces its circumstances for its actions. How do Wendigos see? A Wendigo's vision and Wendigo sees movement. Mobile persons are highlighted in their vision. Otherwise, they are usually unable to track those who remain still. Their main way of communication is by screeching, and they can use their vocalizations to scare prey into moving. What is the height of a Wendigo? Wendigos are generally rumored to be gigantic spirits, over 15 feet tall, lanky, and with glowing eyes, long yellow fangs, terrible claws, and over long tongues. Sometimes they are said to have a shallow yellowish skin. Other times they are described as being a matted hair. Sometimes they are described as having matted hair. How does the Wendigo transform? Once transformed, a person would become violent and obsessed with eating human flesh. The most frequent course of transformation in a Wendigo was if a person had resorted to cannibalism, consuming the body of another human in order to keep from starving to death during a time of extreme hardship and famine. So now we're going to get on to the actual tale of the Wendigo. So what is the Wendigo? Meet the cannibalistic cryptid of your nightmare. In folklore of Plains and First Nation people, the Wendigo was once a legendary hunter who turned to cannibalism and became an unstoppable monster. As the tale goes, the Wendigo was once a lost hunter during a brutal cold winter. This man's intense hunger drove him to cannibalism. After feasting on another human's flesh, he transformed into a crazed beast, roaming the forest in search of people to eat. The story of the Wendigo, sometimes spelled Wendigo or Windigi, comes from the Native American folklore, and the exact details vary depending on who you ask. Some people who have claimed to encounter the beast says it's a relative of the Bigfoot, but others reports compare the Wendigo to a werewolf instead. So there are very mixed sightings, like they are seen differently by people by the sounds of it. Since the Wendigo is said to be a cold weather creature, most sightings have been reported in Canada, as well as cold northern states in the USA, like Minnesota. At the turn of the 20th century, the Algonquin tribes blamed many unsolved disappearances of people on Wendigo attacks. I'm very sorry for any of the words I do not describe properly. I will be posting this out onto pages on Facebook and stuff, guys, so you will be able to look at that back. I'm also going to write that name into the chat as well, so that you know what I'm on about, because it can be really hard to understand what I'm saying, because some of the words I get very confused on. Bear with me 2 minutes. Hello, guys in the room. Really nice to see you all. Hello, professional researcher. How are you? Right, next part. What is a Wendigo? For being an unstoppable predator, the Wendigo is definitely not the largest or most muscular beast of there. Though he is said to be almost 15 feet tall, his body is often described as thin and withdrawn. I have changed some of the words because some of the words are hard. Perhaps this can be attributed to the notion that he is never satisfied with his cannibalistic urges. Obsessed with hunting for new victims, he is forever hungry until he is eating another person. So he's got a very thin structure, very withered structure. It's like a mummified skin that is very tight over the bones. He looks very distorted. He's very skinny, so it looks like he's forever starving, even though he's not. He's a very nasty looking creature, and you will see some pictures in a little while. The Wendigo was gaunt, its thick mummified skin pulled tight over its bones, with its bones pushing out over its skin. Its complexion the ash grey or yellow of death, and its eyes pushed back deep in its sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently removed from a grave. Its lips were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from separation of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strong and eerie odour of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. According to to Nathan Coulson, it's also been said that the Wendigo has large, sharp claws and massive eyes, like an owl. However, some others simply describe the Wendigo as a skeleton-like figure with ash-toned skin. But no matter which the version sounds like, or the most plausible, this is obviously not a creature you would want to run into on a hike. Some of the scary stories about the flesh-eating monster. Different versions of the Wendigo legend says different things about his speed and agility. Some claim he is unusually fast and can endure walking for long periods of time, even in harsh winter conditions. Others say he walks in a more haggard manner, as if he is falling apart. But speed would not be a necessary skill for this monster of the nature. Unlike other terrifying carnivores, the Wendigo doesn't rely on stalking his prey in order to capture and to eat it. Rather, one of his creepiest traits is his ability to mimic a human voice. He uses this skill to lure people in and draw them away from civilization. Once they're isolated in the desolate depths of the wilderness, he attacks them and then he feasts upon them. Also, as well, he is known to screech very loudly, which terrifies his victims to run in more into the area of where he is, which is another way he gets you. The Algonquin people say that during the turn of the 20th century, a large number of their people went missing. The tribes attributed many of the mysterious disappearances to the Wendigo, those calling him the spirit of lonely places. Another rough translation of Wendigo is the evil spirit that devours mankind. This translation is related to yet another version of the Wendigo that has the power to curse humans by possessing them. Once he has influenced their minds, he can turn them into Wendigos, as well as bringing upon them a similar lust for human flesh. One of the most infamous cases is the story of Swift Runner, a Native American man who murdered and ate his whole family during the winter of 1879. According to the Animal Planet, Swift Runner claimed to be possessed by the Wendigo spirit at the time of the murders. Still, he was hanged for his crime. Frightening enough, there were quite a few other stories about these spirits supposedly possessing people in communities stretching from northern Quebec to the Rockies. Many of these reports were shockingly similar to the Swift Runner case. The deeper meaning of the word Wendigo. Whether you believe the Wendigo lurks in the woods at night or not, this is not just another boogeyman story meant to scare people for no reason. It also has historical significance for many indigenous communities. The legend of the Wendigo has long been associated with real-life problems like unstable greed, selfishness, and violence. It's also linked to the many cultural taboos against the negative actions and behaviors. Basically, the word Wendigo can also function as a symbol for gluttony and the image of excess. As Basil Johnson has written, the idea of turning Wendigo is a very real possibility when the word refers to self-destruction rather than literally becoming a monster in the forest. Wendigo stories were once viewed as an illusion of the violent and primitive nature of the very people telling those stories. But ironically enough, these stories might actually represent the injurious people's response to the horrific violence unleashed on them by the native people. In fact, many anthropologists believed that the concept of a Wendigo only developed after the native people had contact with the Europeans. Rewriting Apocalypse added the same modern day confusion about the Wendigo may have to do with the certain terms getting lost in translation. One well-known mistake was traced to the compler of the dictionary, who entered the information regarding the word Wendigo and substituted the word ghoul for the appropriate word, fool, because he thought the native people meant ghoul. But what about those scary Wendigo stories that supposedly affect real people? Some ornithologists also argue that Wendigo stories, especially those involving Wendigo accusations, are linked to stress within the Native American community. The local tensions leading up to such accusations may even be comparable to the fear that preceded the Salem witch trials. However, in the case of the Native American communities, most of the stress was due to dwindling amounts of resources, not to mention the extermination of food in the area. Under those circumstances, who could blame them for having a fear of starvation? Just about the only thing scarier might be what one would do if this starvation became too much to handle. Is the real Wendigo still out there today? The vast majority of supposed Wendigo sightings happened between 1800s to the 1920s. Fewer reports of the creature have surfaced since then, but every so often an alleged sighting emerges. Most recently was in 2019. Mysterious howls in the Canadian wilderness led some to question whether they were caused by the infamous man-beast. One hiker who was present said, "I've heard many different animals in the wild, but nothing like this." Much like other legendary beasts, the Wendigo remains a fixture in pop culture in modern times. The creature has been referenced and sometimes even depicted in a variety of hit television shows, including Supernatural, Grimm, and Charmed. Interestingly enough, there are even a couple of lakes today named after the beast, including the Lake Wendigo in Massachusetts and the Wendigo Lake in Wisconsin. But those who believe in the physical Wendigo think he might still be out there in the woods, and underneath that terrifying flesh-eating demon, there might still be a human man who once just who once was once just a hungry hunter. Now, the very strange thing about the Wendigo is, as I've said, a lot of people think that he may be fictional, and there's a lot of people that say that he isn't, that they've had sightings or they've heard strange noises in the woods. He obviously is a very gruesome creature and not one that you would want to come across, because obviously he likes human flesh. For me, as an investigator, I think I'd find it very difficult to want to go out and look for this sort of creature. If I could catch it, that would be awesome from a distance, but I would not want to be one of those that he comes up on, for the very fact that he likes human flesh and that. And, but again, like any of the stories and things into the creatures and, spirits and other things that we investigate, it is something that very much makes your mind think and makes you wonder. And, even though I'd love to be able to prove if it's real or not, I don't know if I would want to get close enough to find out what he is capable of from what is wrote about him. There have been supposable cases where people were supposedly possessed by Wendigo, and they did torture such things as the family. I mentioned one of these in this story. There have been other ones. I'd watched some programs with my partner, and we watched one on Wendigos where there were several different native communities that come under the effect of the Wendigo syndrome, and certain tribal members started wanting the taste for flesh, and through doing this, their bodies would mangle, they would change, their appearances were changing, the way that they would act was changing. They were very dangerous, obviously. A lot of native people that came into communication with anyone in their tribes that actually believed that these people were turning into Wendigo, they would actually kill them. They would actually bring somebody that is supposedly trained in getting rid of Wendigos and bring them in to end the person's life before it fully took them over. And I see this all in the film and documentary, and it was very, very interesting. But the other relative that is very close to the Wendigo is also the Skinwalker energy, which I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. Obviously, with that one, it's more through magic and people's decisions and them sort of things that brings this Skinwalker out. But I'm just going to pass over to Curtis and see if there's anything that Curtis wants to add on about the what I've just read out.
Just that, when you were talking about hungry hunters in the woods, when I was young, we had a lot of depression, and we moved without food a lot when we were young, and I used to hunt, a lot. And I noticed when I would hunt, I would see things in this one area of the the woods, I always see this one thing, and I seen it 2 or 3 times, but I think it was a shapeshifter because I would see different things. Wasn't just like the skinwalker or Wendigo type looking thing. It would shapeshift. It was
Yeah.
strange.
The thing is like with the Wendigo is not really known as a shapeshifter. It just goes into that monster form and it stays like it. But the skinwalker is supposedly supposed to be a shape-shifting energy. It will go from a human-looking person to being a wolf-looking or a very horrible monster-looking thing. Even though they're both very similar, they've both got different characteristics to how they turn and switch. Where one, the Wendigo would never turn back into human. The human is now stuck in the Wendigo body. The skinwalker is said to be able to change back to human form and can
Yeah, it was.
control his urges a little bit more than what a Wendigo can.
Yeah, it's like when you're in the woods, like when you're younger, you're hunting in the woods. You're hunting to eat because I didn't have a lot of money. We're kind of poor back then when we were young, and you would see things. And I was like I was talking to you on the Halloween special with Jana. What she saw was similar to what I saw. It was just I remember hearing about the Algonquins, uh, Native Americans having their own legend of the Wendigo, but I
Yeah,
never heard anything about the Iroquois, because where I'm at the Appalachian Mountains going on into Canada. I never heard anything about the Iroquois having that legend. I have to read on that because I don't think I remember that. But
but
back
yeah, well, it'd
then,
be interesting for you to share some of like what you've heard from the tribes that are supposedly have had them in. Obviously, Pups is saying in the room as well that they can shapeshift. So I'm taking it Wendigos can shapeshift though, but it's not really mentioned very much about them shapeshifting. You more hear it in the Skinwalker regime and the Rifts.
yeah, it was.
Definitely,
I think it comes from
they
being,
are all from the same family. Definitely.
yeah, it comes from being, if you're having hardships or if you're having, I had a lot of family problems. I didn't get along with my dad at that time. He was,
But they
it
say
was,
that, like some of them say that they look very much and resemble very much like Bigfoot. They've just got bigger mouths and they've got really horrible teeth. Could they be a Bigfoot relative? Could they be some sort of Bigfoot relative? Maybe a more negative side of it, or maybe
yeah,
one that's a Bigfoot that's switched and changed. Because it's not very often that you would hear of Bigfoot capturing people and eating them unless really, really desperate, is it? Normally they'll just go around in the woods and scare you and whatever. But could could
yeah.
this be a relative to a
But I
Bigfoot?
mean, you coming from hardships and having, a
In
lot of
betweens.
negative.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are in betweens. They're in between both worlds. They are, they're of a human form, but they're also of a spirit form. But monsters, they're really strange to explain. But again, they are a very creepy and very dangerous animal,
Yeah, well,
creature, whatever you want to call them. And
yeah. The thing
many,
is,
many people do believe in them. And there is
yeah,
many tribes that swear by them and have said that they've seen them, they've endured them, even in their own people. So, hello, Eli. Hello to everybody. I will shout you all out at the end, but what I'm going to do is just talk to you a little bit about the bit that I got on the Skinwalker now, okay? So you can just see the difference slightly. Then we will go back to doing Curtis's we'll do his video and we'll bring the pictures up. Then we'll carry on the conversation, and if any of you guys want to say anything, you can, and we'll also call you all out, okay? Nicely, obviously. I'm not calling you out bad. Yeah, Dogman is, yeah. Yeah. Right. Another monster that's meant to be related to the Wendigo is known as a skinwalker. The Western Indian tribes believe in this supernatural being as well. The Navajo tribe especially believed that these skinwalkers were shapeshifters who could assume the form of an animal, which allowed them to travel quickly and gave them the ability to hide in plain sight. Specifically, a person is said to gain the power to become a skinwalker upon intrusion into the witchery way. The intrusion into the witchery way involves murdering a close relative, especially a sibling. Other crimes also associated with it were necrophilia, a grave robbing, a necrophilia and grave robbing. Once one has been instigated into the witchery way, they become pure evil. It is interesting to note that in the native cultures, most witches were male, not female. So, as Halloween approaches with all its devilish delights, take a second to look at the neighbour of yours you always suspect of being a little strange. Perhaps he is truly a Wendigo lurking in the night, or maybe, just maybe, the family dog or cat is actually a skinwalker in disguise. Whatever the case, lock your doors and stay up late and be safe. So obviously with the skinwalker, that is more associated with witchery, and as it said in the story as well, you know, them doing such things as murdering siblings or relatives in their family.
The thing I saw moved way too
And
fast. Moved way too
also
fast.
grave robbing, necrophilia. Necrophilia is something where they do stuff with people that have passed on, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's very
So
deep.
some very, very horrible and nasty traits that you don't want to have, because you're causing sin doing that anyway. So you could understand why that maybe somebody like that would change into this sort of creature if they've done that sort of thing. Again, do we know if it's real, or do we know if it's just a legend? Okay, we cannot fully say that, even though people have said they've had sightings, or they've heard things, or they've come across something unusual in the woods. Nobody can fully say that what they see was a Wendigo or a Bigfoot or whatever, you know, until you can get close enough. And obviously with a Wendigo and skinwalker, you don't want to get too close, because it's game over, literally. So, Curtis, anything you want to say?
Just the things that I've seen, you know, they move so quick, and they'll be in one location, they can be in another location in a split second. I always wondered how they could move so fast until I, you know, started seeing them almost regularly. Then I started reading up on it. Like back then, you didn't have people talking about Wendigos and skinwalkers and stuff back then when I was younger. Now today, people talk about it. They talk about
Yeah,
Wendigos.
because it's
They
more
talk,
of the norm today. You know what I mean?
yeah,
People are more acceptance of the supernatural and that. Back in the day when you was obviously around, or my pups, for instance, you know, talking about anything of supernatural, paranormal, or anything was a no-no, and you'd be titled that you're crazy and you're nuts. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And some of you would get put away and have some horrible things done to you for it. You know,
yeah.
where today, yes, there are still
Yeah,
people that don't accept it, and still some funny people out there, but it is more accepting, the same as witchcraft and that. But you know,
you pretty
and
much
I agree,
forgot about it,
Pops.
put
Yeah,
it away.
humans. Yeah, for a human to become these types, you have to stain your soul. Definitely stain your soul. Yeah, it's you have to do some very nasty and evil things to take that trait. And my pups is agreeing with you, Curtis. He's saying yes, Curtis, it is correct. There are they are insanely fast. They are very, very fast. They're meant, like I said, they're meant to be able to run at 109 kilometers per hour. Now, I'm not very good with the kilometers and whatever, but it's fast. It would outrun a horse, a motorbike probably as well, you know. So yeah, good luck on trying to get away from
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah, you're not
You
gonna.
know, it's not
But
going
I
to happen.
mean, it's something like I said with my experiences that I've had seeing them things. I don't know, like you said, I can't say they're a Wendigo and I can't say they're a Skinwalker, but what I've seen is something I've never seen again. And so, but it was at a time in my life when I was having a lot of rough times, a lot of hard times, you know, having, money problems. And, I was in the woods a lot hunting and probably seeing things I probably shouldn't have seen. But it was, like I said, it was a horrible thing. I mean, I could smell it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it,
they give off a really horrible smell. They're supposed to smell like rotting flesh and
yeah,
not
it
very
was,
pleasant smelling,
it wasn't,
decaying.
yeah, it wasn't 10 feet tall, but it was up there. It was pretty good size, and it wasn't afraid of me, but it
Oh,
also,
I don't think them sort of creatures would be afraid of you, to be quite honest, would they? Especially if they eat you and that, and because of their capability and their abilities and what they can do, they ain't going to be scared of us. Pups is saying 70 miles per hour, but obviously on the work and the research that I've done, it says 109 miles per hour is what a Wendigo can travel at.
well, the
So
strangest things,
anything from 70 upwards.
yeah, the strangest thing it was when I was hunting. It was when I was real young. I was hunting. I seen an albino deer. It was pure white, and it was the first year hunting, and I could not shoot that deer. And I had my because he was a. They say don't shoot an albino deer. It's not good luck. So
They say
I,
that the average height for a Wendigo or a Skinwalker is actually 15 feet tall, but a lot of them are known to be between 7 and 10, as Pups has said in the room as well, 7 and 10 feet tall. So anything from 7 feet up to 15 feet tall are what they're supposed to go within height. And I've done this. There's somebody that does research and studying into the Wendigo, and they've got a lot of this stuff wrote down, which is what I'm reading from. Somebody that's actually done the research, and I found it quite interesting and stuff. So
yeah, I've seen them. I don't know if they are in trees, but I've seen things in the trees actually. They'll shake a tree.
oh,
And
I'm sure that they could. I'm sure that they could get into trees and get into really weird places because of how they look.
yeah,
Not really much different to like what Bigfoot would do. Bigfoot can get into trees and stuff like that. They've got hands, they've got feet, they've got the ability to be able to do that. So
yeah,
it
it
wouldn't
actually looked
surprise
like a
me at all.
skeleton to me. It had long. It looked like a skeleton. It had really long horns going. It was really thin. It
Some
almost
of them
looked
do.
like,
Some of them have got
yeah,
horns. They're very
looked
skin.
like it
Like I
was
said,
starving.
their skin's very very thick, even though it don't look thick. It's very thick. It's very mummified. It's very dry. So
Yeah,
and you'll notice that like parts of the skin's breaking away because of how tight it is and
yeah. It looked like it
how
was
difficult
starving to
drawn it
death.
is.
It was
Yeah.
so hungry. It looked like it was hungry the way, dark under its eyes and almost like a skeleton looking thing. Very strange looking thing. I don't know. It was, but I thought, because all the problems I was
Oh,
having as
you've
a young
seen the
kid.
paper people, huh? Paper people, pups. Explain.
What are the paper people?
Yeah, a deer, Wendigo, lone, and skinny horns. So there is something that walks around looking a bit like a deer, I take it. That isn't a deer. It's a
Yeah, it
Wendigo.
it does have that horns and stuff like that, but it's very thin, like it's
Pups,
starving to death.
do you want to
Yeah,
come up with us for a few minutes? Do you want to come up? You know a lot about Wendigo stuff. Come on. Come on, coming out your daughter. Come on. And we'll get up Mister's bits as well. So let me just send the link over to you. You can't be giving me all this advice and whatever and not be coming up there. That's
I
just not
know.
happening.
I know it really.
I've learned a lot from my pups. My pups is an amazing man, and I'm just going to bring him up so that he can come and talk to you a little bit more in more detail about the Wendigo, because he's been in the paranormal field for a very long time, so he knows his stuff. Give me 2 seconds, pup. It's coming on Messenger. when
It's
it decides to
exciting
like
meeting
me.
someone so educated about this stuff.
Yeah, he's really good. He's a really, 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 really good man. Come on. Hang on a minute. I'm just... Here we go. Found him. It was taking a while to load up. He should be with us in a minute. Okay, pups, I've sent it to you. It's in your messenger. Wait for you to come up now. Well, this is turning into be a good old topic, isn't it? Having people coming up
this
and
this
joining.
is
I
really
like this.
interesting. This
I
is
do
really
like this.
interesting. This is gonna be wonderful. I can't wait to meet this guy because
So what I will do first, right, guys, and what I will first do is bring up the pictures and do the video that lovely Curtis sent over, and then after that we'll get my pups to talk a little bit about what he knows, and Curtis can join in as well, because obviously they probably know the legends over there a lot more than what I do. So I will show Curtis's videos, I will do the pictures. Then I will get Pups to speak to you a little bit about the Wendigo skinwalkers, do his thing, and Curtis can join in. Let's just bring him up. Here's my lovely Pups.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
How are you, Pups?
Hey,
Lovely.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Right,
too,
so
Danny.
what I'm going to do first, Pups, right, is show the video that Curtis sent over and put up a few of the Wendigo pictures. Then I'll get you to talk a little bit about them, because obviously, like I said, my Pups has been in the field for over 50 years. He knows his stuff, and he's seen some right todgers on his way over. Literally. So let me just get that up. Right, so Curtis, the ghost. Is that it? The ghost of the lane? Yeah. Right, let me just bring that up. Oh, what's that? Oh, we'll bring the pictures first. Here we go. So here we have some pictures of supposedly what the Wendigo is supposed to look like. Now, this one was sent to me by Curtis. So the first four that you see is from Curtis. So you've got this one, very looking, as you can see, you've got like you've got the horns and stuff here and stuff. You've got the very skinny looking body, the long claws. Really not a nice creature for you to be seen. Another alternative of him with his blood on him, and he's really not something you would want to come into contact with. Now, this is one that people do describe him as a lot. He's got his horns, but he's got hair, okay, and he's got these horrible claws, and he's said to come up on his victim. He doesn't have to stalk you or anything. He can do certain things like screech or mimic a human voice to make you think that somebody is in trouble or something. This is another alternative of him. Now, these four were sent by Curtis. Again, a very evil and nasty looking animal, creature, whatever you want. This supposedly is what they look like just as they're starting to get took over by a Wendigo. Like when you're starting to become a Wendigo or a skinwalker, you would start to obviously change in your appearance. Then you turn into something like this, or like this.
Yep.
Or like that.
Yep. They don't have
very many forms that they are described to look like, and believe me, there probably is many different forms of Wendigo. Oh, and that's the you don't want to look at that one. Take that one off.
excuse me.
So yeah, that's the that is the pictures that we got of the Wendigos. As you can see, very, very nasty looking creature, and do not go searching for it, because you're more than likely are not going to be coming back.
No
Okay,
way,
so
baby.
you ain't going to get away from it. Right, so now just the video that Curtis done here. So let me just bring that up.
Well, it's weird, you guys, because I seen it in this place called Lover's Lane, and it's on the left-hand side. If you look, you can see it walking. It looks like it's got a headdress on it. I think it looks like a
Hang on a minute, it's
skinwalker.
just loading at a minute. Hang on, I don't know why it's doing it. taking its time. The internet is really bad at the minute everywhere for some reason.
If you look at it on the left side of the screen, you guys, let me know what you guys are seeing, because
If we can get it to come up,
I know.
thank you. Aura, yep, that's it. Yep. Right.
Come on, baby. Come on up there.
Have I removed it? No, I've put it. Where have you
There we go.
see it? Because it's really lagging like this.
It's awful quiet up in
It's
here.
up or not.
Weird, man. It was weird, you guys.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it'll go. Just give it a minute.
Quiet up in here. You guys will hear me say, I thought I heard something, or I heard something, and I'll pan up to the left, and you'll see a big figure walking. Looks like it has a headdress.
Hello, Christine.
Really weird.
I do apologise for the video at the minute, guys. It's just taken a while to load up.
I know. It's
Is it muted?
Hey,
Oh yeah, I paused it. That's why. No,
let's go on. Just
done it. Woo! Got there.
Then there's something right on the right. It looks like a shapeshifter. It almost looks like a. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but. Are you up here with me? How about that? That's good next to that.
Did you just see that pops over there in the tree line?
Just heard something. All right, it's gonna pan to the left, you guys. Keep looking by the tree. How about that figure stand next to that tree back then? Are you here? Anybody from the past here? I'm gonna leave now. It'll be my last time here. Because the next time I come up here, this probably won't be here. I think it went right past it, you guys, where it was. But you got to really be looking. It's like 11 seconds, you know, and it's like, but you can see it.
Where was it at?
It was about 3 minutes and 58 seconds in.
Right, that's not 3 minutes. That's...
Anybody up in here with me?
It's not got to 3 minutes and 58 seconds yet, sweet. It was just still going.
Probably won't be here.
It's not here yet, guys.
Yeah, it's about. It's quiet. It's one more time. EVP. I think we missed it, guys, but is there anybody in here with me right now? Can you hear me? Are you here?
Right, we're about 2:32, so it should be coming up soon.
If you're here, speak in voice recorder. Let me know that you're here. Talk into my electronic voice recorder here. Let me know you were here. Or you were here. I'll check this when I get home and see if there's anything on it. All right, I'm going to ask a few more questions. Is there anybody here with me?
Right, keep
You
looking
are.
now, guys, because in the
Say
next 30
your
seconds
name.
it should come up.
Very quiet. Unless there's something on the video, I didn't see anything or hear anything. Squirrels. Everything's all posted now, and you got to ask for permission, which I did.
What's that it there?
Yeah, it was real quick. I think we
Something
missed it.
standing in the middle of the thing then. Hang on.
Everything's all posted now, and you got to ask for.
Well, I back up.
Very quiet.
Something was there. I see it. Hang on.
Well, I know it was following me, but you know, to get it on camera, it's so quick that. Very quiet. Unless there's something on the video, I didn't see anything or hear anything. Squirrels.
Dispatch here.
But
I
let
don't
me
know
go
what-
back a bit more.
It looked like something peeking around it. All right, I'm going to ask a few more questions. Is there anybody here with me? If you are, say
It's
your
definitely
name.
not there because this one's at 318. So let me go like as back as it wasn't before 36. It was after that. So it's going to be any time
I'm
around
going to ask a
this.
few more questions. Is there anybody here with me?
Way before
are.
these questions with this
Say
voice recorder
Your
here.
name.
I really like to see
Well, no,
Danny.
you said that it was at 350 something. That's only at 333. So it was after because it was after this that I see it in the middle of the thing. So I looked and I see pups look as well, and it was really quick.
Yeah, it was like.
Unless there's something on the video, I didn't see anything or hear anything.
Let me go back a bit more. Sorry, guys, but there was definitely something there that I see. Let me go back to like 26.
If you can, send me a copy of this because I think I saw a bone race.
I've seen a couple of things in it, pups. I see something that looked like it was bending over and down near like one of the trees.
Anybody in here with me
tree
right
line.
now?
I'll
you
send
hear
you
me?
this link,
Get up in
pups.
here.
Let me go from the beginning again. See if we can see anything again.
Which is very strange, but
See, then when it pans to the left, you guys.
It's right here.
There, did you see that? There, hang on.
Yeah, they're
Right,
weird.
Hang on. Go back. No, back.
Yeah, I saw it. There's two things on this clip.
There. There's one that
Yeah.
something there,
It-
and there's something there. There's something weird there as well.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Well,
And
when I get a
at the
chance,
end of the
Anybody
this
up in here
video,
with
I
me?
definitely see something standing in the middle of the tree line as well. It was really quick. You panned
How about that
the phone really quick.
thing you
But
saw that stood next to that big pine tree right there? Me and my brother back at
There- See, there's all these weird things. Looks like nests up in there and stuff too. And
How about this figure that was standing next to that tree back then? Are you here?
did you see that, Pups? That looked like an elemental.
Mhm.
I sent this thing to Paranormal Caught on Video and stuff. They're analyzing it, but there's like
Anybody
you got to
from the
go through it
past
very
here?
slowly.
I will send this over to my pups, and I
I'm
will
gonna
look
leave
at
now.
it again on my
It'll be
own,
my
like off
last
of the
time
stream
here.
and that as well, like so I can keep rewinding
Because
it
the next
over and
time
over
I come
again.
up here, it's
Something's in the
probably
corner over
empty.
there.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. I appreciate that you looking at that for me.
Yeah, I'll look at it. I know there's something there. I'm not sure what it is because it went too quick, but if I have it, I can look at it better.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'll send it over to you, pups.
Yeah,
I'll try one more time to get an EVP.
I'll tell you what, though, you're not nuts. There's something there.
I know it's weird, ain't it?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few.
Is there
few
anybody
things
in
there.
here
I
with
can see
me
a few.
right now? Can you hear me? Are you here?
Is there an old cemetery not too far from this place?
You're here.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yep, not very far
let
from
me
here.
know that you're here.
Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure that was a bone
I
race.
was getting that. There's
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, it's not very far from there. Probably half a mile from there.
Talk to my
Okay, yeah.
electronic voice recorder.
I'm
here.
pretty sure I saw a bone race
Let me
there.
know you were here.
If there's a
Or
cemetery
you were here.
not that
I'll
far
check
from there,
this when I get home
Yep,
and see if there's anything on it.
not even a half a mile, Dan.
okay, yeah. Well, then I would say that was a bone race, but I'll double check.
All right, I'm going to ask a few more questions. Is there anybody here with me? If you are, say your name.
They move so quick, you could, but they're there. But they're
Oh yeah, keep in mind they can go 70 miles an hour in a bush. If they're running on a straight line,
yeah,
like if it's a straight line, they're going 100, 120 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Through
Yeah.
a bush, they go 70 miles an hour without breaking a sweat. They're that quick. They're
Yes.
Very quiet. Unless there's something on the video, I didn't see anything or hear anything.
That's what-
strange
that's what-
girls.
That's what makes them so dangerous, Because they're there, then they're there. You know what I mean? Like,
Almost like they disappear right into the tree. Like,
Yeah, no, they do. They can though, because they can camouflage and do lots of things.
yeah, but I mean, to me, it looked like a bone race. That quick.
Everything's all posted
thing I
now.
saw.
And
No,
you got to ask for
something was there then.
permission.
That-
Which I
Like
did,
literally,
but
there's a few energies there.
That's why I want to know if there's a cemetery there.
Head
Because
back
that
to
one
the
looked
car.
just like a bone race.
yep, there is Danny. There is Danny. Right, just probably not even a half a mile out of there.
That makes sense. There'd be one
this is
there.
Kurt Schweiger.
There's
Searching for
something there as well in the corner there.
EVPs. Signing out.
That was an interesting one, Curtis.
Yeah.
Most definitely very interesting.
if I was to give my opinion, and it's only my opinion, but if I was to give my opinion, the fact that there's a cemetery nearby, I think what's there is actually a bone race. I don't think it's a Wendigo. I don't think it's a skinwalker. It would make sense for a bone race to be there, okay? Because they eat bones. They don't eat flesh, right? They're all in the same family. They're all for each one of these things, they have to desecrate their own family name, right? So regardless, whether it's skinwalker, whether it's Wendigo, whether it's a wraith, they've all either eaten part of their family, killed their own family, disowned their own family, and did terrible things to them in order to tarnish their soul so black that nobody else wants them, right?
Yeah.
That's the basic structure or one of the building blocks. Not all of them, but it's one of the building blocks of becoming any of these things. To become an in-between, you've got to do something so black against your own humanity in order for your soul to be twisted. Because basically what happens is you're twisting your soul. Once your soul is twisted, then you're going to become one of your beliefs. Now, people say, well, skinwalkers are for real, but Wendigo is not so much. And it's like, wait a second. Don't forget they're in-betweens, okay? Now, if you go where skinwalker is prevalent, everyone there believes in skinwalkers. You come here, you go in North Minnesota, you go in Ontario, you go in these places, the Wendigo is prevalent, right? Mm-hmm. So now, if you've twisted your soul and you're joining with a demon or you're joining with another being, okay, what form is that demon? Let's say it's a demon, just for argument's sakes. What form is that demon going to take? Why the hell would a demon up here in the north take the shape of a skinwalker? There's no belief in the skinwalker, right? Everyone is terrified of the Wendigo already, so wouldn't it make common sense for a demon to want to become a Wendigo? Because it's already feared and people already are scared of it, so it's already got its own power, right? Down south, they're more into the skinwalker, so why would it become a Wendigo down there? Preposterous. Why not just become a skinwalker? Everybody already believes in it. Don't have to convince nobody nothing, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these in-betweens are basically, they become what is most feared in the area, okay?
Yeah.
So up here in this area in Michigan and Minnesota, Northern Ontario, all these other places, it's going to go with a Wendigo because a Wendigo is already believed by so many people. Whether it's true or not has nothing to do with it. Okay, it's got squat to do with it. The belief is there so strong that it gives it power. Okay.
Yeah.
Same
exactly.
Skin, the belief is there. The only real one that's different is a wraith. Okay.
Yeah.
You got your blood wraith, you got your bone wraith, and you got your spirit wraith. Right. They can take any form, any shape, anything they want to do at any time. You know, and so again, they're all connected. I think, honestly, can't prove it, and so don't quote me on this. I think the Sasquatch is part of an in-between. Okay.
Oh yeah, and that's why I said on the show today, like maybe it is an off-breed.
Well, see, people said, "Oh, well, the skinwalker is a relatively new thing. It's been around 100 years or whatever." Oh, the Wendigo is a relatively new thing, right? Race are a relatively new thing. No, they're not. See, before they were all one thing. They were all classified as in-betweens. Okay?
Yeah.
They've been here for thousands of years. Yeah. But it isn't until the last 60, 70 years that they've been kind of looking at it and saying, okay, wait a second. Dogs have different breeds. Cats have different breeds. Humans have different colors, skin, shapes. Why can't in-betweens? Right?
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
An in-between is a race, like human, dog, cat. But within these races or different breeds, right? So, like even your Wendigo, you've got your deer Wendigo. Now that's the Wendigo that looks like a deer. It's got the long horns like this,
Yeah,
right?
I've seen that thing. I've seen one like that.
That's the deer Wendigo, and it's one of the more common seen with the long horns that have four.
Yeah.
Well, that's a more long one. There's also the cat Wendigo, which is the Wendigo that has a face like a horse and long hair, but
Yeah.
really long claws and stuff. That's the cat Wendigo. Like so, there's 3 or 4 different types of Wendigo too, right? Just like there's a German Shepherd and a Poodle and I don't know, like Chihuahua and there's still Wendigos, right? There's still in betweens, but just like dogs, cats, cows, buffaloes, whales, porpoises, there's all different types,
Like I was telling Sherry, Danny, that when me and her first started talking, they're really in the beginning, like back then you seen things, you just kind of like shrugged it off, but now people are talking about it. You know what I mean? They're seeing it and talking about it, and they finally.
Well, yeah. See, that's the other thing. Like, let's go back 200 years, even 150 years. Okay, if you would say that you've seen these things, you would have either been classified as a witch and burned at a stake, or put into a mental institution for the rest of your life. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody even talked about it. When I first started over 50 years ago, you couldn't even say the word ghost without being admitted to the hospital. You couldn't say there was a demon without going to the mental hospital. I mean, I've spent 3 times in the asylum because of the things I see and the things I work against, right? Who wants to put themselves out there when a society would burn you at a stake or put you in a nut house? Nobody, except for crazy people like me, I suppose, and my group. But anyway, now it's kitchen table talk. People talk about it at the kitchen table. They talk about it alone. They've got TV shows of all these things that you wouldn't even dare mention. Even 30 years ago, you wouldn't talk about a Wendigo. And here's the thing: if you go to certain areas, they won't even talk about it, even where they're most known. Okay, you go someplace where skinwalkers live, nobody's going to talk to you about it. Not in real world, not in real life. Okay, nobody's even going to mention.
It's their belief in that, isn't it?
Right.
Like they believe that if they speak it into reality.
Fuck them for it,
Yeah.
They don't want to be known, right? So if you're going around and you're talking bad about a skinwalker and a skinwalker lives in your area, you've just invited shit to your doorstep, right? Same with Wendigos. You go to some of the reserves or some of the people here, you say the word Wendigo, and I've seen this happen. Somebody goes to a gas station or whatever, and they say the word Wendigo, they shut the door, they lock it, that's it. You're not allowed in the store. If you're going to talk that, you get the hell off you're not allowed here.
Yeah, right? a lot of people fear they bring really negative.
People say, well, I believe in this. I believe. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't say shit. You know what I mean? Like you'd be very careful on the words you say and how you approach it and how you'd say things. For myself, okay, when I talk, I say, this is my opinion, not for you guys. Right? There's a reason I do that. Right? There's a reason I do that. Because I don't want you people saying stuff that's going to get you in trouble. Right? So I say, my opinion, this is my belief. It's got nothing to do with anybody else on the panel. Because I know what's right and I know what's wrong. Right? Now, if you go around and changing your opinion or whatever, that's your business. But I'm not going to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Because you gotta decide to you what's worth talking about. Like if you believe in the Wendigo and you believe in these things, then believe in it and research it and do your stuff, and find out what.
Yeah, like I have. Like I don't say that I don't believe in it or anything, but obviously I'm from a country where it's not really known. So for me, it is quite alien. So
no,
but I do believe there is something out there and stuff.
Okay, but if I say to you sprites, and Wicked Spring.
Yeah, 100%.
That changes the whole damn dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. It all depends on the place of where you are, to what has been accepted there as reality, right?
Everyone's got a culture creature that they fear and that they won't talk of. You know what I mean? In every country.
Well, I didn't even know what a Wendigo was until I started a couple of years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, until I started, reading and watching shows, and then I started knowing. I said,
but that's because of what Pop said, like years and years and years back, that they weren't spoke about, even though they were there. It's only been in the last, like Pop said, 7 years that it started to come out, because the investigations have become more research and stuff's not held back now. We're not so much judged the way that we would have been 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, they laughed at you. They would laughed at me if I went home and said I saw something, and I didn't really know what it was until like last couple of years ago. I was seeing what it looked like, a Wendigo and a Skinwalker, and I started putting 2 and 2 together. I said, that's what I saw. It was really weird.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Dogman, it's another in between. Wendigo, that's an in between. Spirit Walker, that's an in between. All these different things, they're all from the same family, right? They're all from the same sort of distant relative of each other, you know what I mean? So, like, it is preposterous, in my opinion, for someone to say, well, the Skinwalker's real, but Sasquatch is not. Sasquatch is real, but the Wendigo is not. Are you on crack?
Yeah.
they're all related. You know what I mean? Like how could you turn around and say you believe in the Sasquatch but not in the Wendigo, or you believe in the Skinwalker but not in Sasquatch, or whatever? Or and another one that combines everyone together. The one that ties everyone together are the paper people, right? That's the baseline. If you think of paper people, they're humans, but they haven't chosen a form. So basically what they look like more times than not is if you literally take out a white piece of paper, cut a human shape and stick it in a tree, because that's where they hang out.
Yeah, because it's not quite knowing of what it is yet. It
has decided what it wants to play with, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the paper people will become a Wendigo. Some will become whatever. Sasquatch. Some will become Skinwalkers.
Spirits.
So there's also a correlation or a connection between paper people and all these other different type of things. Now, it's a joining. It'd be like a joining, like where if a paper person was say wanted to become something different, right? You're keeping in mind it's the paper people that make the changes, right?
Yeah.
The shape shifting. Those are all, that's basically its trait. It's a shapeshifter, right? Of sorts. So can you imagine if a Wendigo was connected with a paper, it could take any shape it wanted. Anything. It could be a deer, it could be a bear, it could be a...
Well, that is what shapeshifters are. That's where a lot of people because when people turn around and go, oh, shapeshifters and that, they automatically think it's going to be like an animal going to another animal. Not necessarily, like you can have like animals that like so-called creatures that go from animal into human form. Anything that go into animal, you've got a creature that can turn into another sort of creature, and then another one, like constantly changes it.
In my opinion only, any creature that can change from human to animal, animal to animal, or human to beast, not animal to beast.
It's an in-between, yeah.
But human to beast is an in-between, and there's a paper person involved.
Yeah. And
that's exactly where the real Shadow Man comes from. Right? Shadow Man, is not a shadow person. Shadow Man is a being of its own, right? And they're very deceivious. They're very deceptive. They try to be your friend and trick you into killing yourself and shit like that. They're nasty bastards, right? But they're not shadow people. And everyone always confuses Shadow Man with shadow people, but they do that on purpose. Because a shadow man is not nearly as scary if it's a shadow people, right? Because that's just a spirit walking around. But a shadow man will take that form so that your guard will be down a little bit. That's why it took that
Yeah.
form in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I agree
I've
with that
seen-
100%.
I've seen shadows, being in graveyards, shadows, and and they weren't my shadow, but them things followed me around. I have some of these.
But there are
no-
many energies in
And
the
most
graveyard. A lot of
shadow
people, when they
people-
go to graveyards and things like that, they
most
automatically
shadow
think it's
people-
just the spirit. And they're
yeah,
not.
most shadow people are spirits. They're just regular spirits. Most of them.
Yeah.
Right. You'll know if it's a shadow man. I mean, first off, it's scary. Period. And it can look like just any other shadow you ever seen. But when your spirit locks with that spirit, it's bone shaking. Okay, it's bone shaking. It's not something that can be mistaken. If it's a real shadow man, your bones will feel it literally.
Oh yeah, you'll feel the light, the heaviness, and the darkness from it as well. You'll feel it. You'll feel all of it, like literally. If
like a really insane pressure on your bones. Okay, if it's a real shadow man, it's like your bones are hurting, right? And then once you acknowledge it, now it stinks, and now it like there's all different type of things that come along with it. You start to smell sulfur. Once you've connected to it, you're in trouble. You need to cleanse yourself real quick.
Danny, that place that we're at is called Lover's Lane. Is a little clearing in the woods. Well, back when I was growing up, back in the 70s, 4 teenagers died in that little clearing in their car of carbon monoxide poisoning. And every time I went up there was always something happened. Either something would follow me or I would see something, up in that little clearing. And I would say prayers later, but I didn't really get it until later, But
yeah, a lot of times, that's another thing too. People don't realize it could just a lot of times it's just a human spirit just doing their thing, walking around. A lot of times they're lost. A lot of times there's different things. But there is something that, in my opinion, is worse than a demon, and that's called a twisted human. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now these things, I would fight 10 demons before one twisted human.
Oh yeah.
Especially in that.
Oh,
The reason is because with a twisted human, it still has freedom of choice, greed, anger, resentment, revenge. All these feelings, all the negative ones are still there. Love, compassion, that's all gone. Right? That doesn't even exist anymore for them. Okay. Twisted human is all that is negative of a human being who just hates everything. Right. The problem with them is with a demon, they've always got a plan and they've always got a boss. And their plan is to go from point A to point B. So they're going to do this, this, and this. And you can pretty well guess what their next move is. With a shadow person, they're starting at A, they're going towards B, and just out of
last minute,
a blink of an eye, they decide let's go to C or D.
And it's the same with the twisted human as well.
They just do what they want, right? Which makes them so much more dangerous because you can't predict what their next move is going to be. That's what's danger about them. Okay. Now the worst of these type are the ones that commit suicide.
Yeah.
Okay. The worst of the twisted human are ones that have committed suicide. They're the most dangerous too, because they want to make you suffer the way they suffered, right? So a twisted human that's committed suicide or killed someone and committed suicide, these are the ones, run away. Just don't even look at them. Run. don't even be in the same.
Just to clear a fly this year, not in any shape or form are we saying that if anyone wants to commit suicide in your family and that you're going to become a twisted soul.
Oh, no.
Not the point. You've got to do really bad things in life, then do what you do to yourself. And
it's also a choice, right? It's also a choice. It's a spiritual choice. It's not something that someone's going to just turn into. It's all about intent of the person, right? Or the spirit. Spirits that die of suicide or horrific death or anything else, they're just human beings needing absolution of some sort, right?
They will not become a twisted soul. It's only
a twisted
people
human.
that have murdered, done really bad things, then they've decided to be coward and take their own life because of what they've done. They're normally the ones that become.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're committing suicide because they've already made the deal. When I die, I want to become this, right?
Yeah.
You don't just accidentally become a twisted human being. It's intention. It's all about intention, right? So anyone that passes for any other reason, any reason, if there's no intention to become one, you're not going to become one. Okay.
Yeah, no. But I just thought I would clarify that because there are people
that's a very good clarification.
Start freaking out and thinking that somebody they've just lost might be turning into a twisted soul. Not at all.
No,
not at all.
Well, it's weird, you guys, because I've been down really bad, thought about suicide when I was younger and stuff. But when me and Sherry and I were talking about a near-death experience, I almost died 2 or 3 times, and she had experienced herself. Where it's weird when you get that close to death. And
hey, Lloyd.
Somebody told me, he was holding my hand. He said, "I don't want you right now," and I wanted to go. At that time,
and you do, and they will make you know when your time's there. You know what I mean? Like you said, we had that conversation, and I told you about the attacks with the demons, and I got the blood poisoning, and I nearly died. I was in hospital. Yeah, you know, this is not a lie. This actually happened. You know, and Pups would know that as well, because Pups had to help me by giving me a couple of remedies and stuff to try and out with my neck because I ended up in hospital very sick. But luckily, you know, with his help and aura and one doctor actually knowing what they were doing, I was able to be saved. But you know, the fact and the truth about it is there are so many different spirits and energies out there. Okay, there are so many things we're led to believe aren't out there when they are, and they have been for thousands of years, like Pup said, like everyone says. Yeah, and my advice to you, okay, because we can't 100% say to you like, yeah, no, they're definitely out there. They're definitely not out there. We know that I know that I believe in the Wendigo and the Skinwalker and that. I do 100%.
Me too.
And that's why I'm giving you from my heart. Don't go and search for these sort of creatures.
No,
okay,
no.
Spirits and that understandable. Still have the knowledge, but don't go looking for these sort of creatures because they're not the sort of creatures you're going to walk into their location and you're going to walk back out.
No, you're not. I'll tell you what. Once you've dealt with one, you're never the same. Okay.
No. And then 9 times out of 10, when you do deal with the Wendigos and stuff like that, you don't survive. They eat flesh. You're not going to survive if you get a Wendigo coming on you. So
you know, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you could fight them. You could do that." No, you can't. The best thing you can do with any of these type creatures is to ban them from that area. You're not going to kill them. Okay?
You can't kill them.
You're not going to destroy them. It's not going to happen. They will allow you or trick you into seeing them being destroyed and blown to bits and all that other shit. But they just move to a different area. They don't give a rat's ass about you.
Yeah, no. You can't hurt them. Yes, they can do something that they do. Something that they do that will kill them. You know, it's not you yourself.
You can banish them from one area and tell them they're not allowed to be in this area, that stuff, and make that area sacred again, you know, to ban them from an area. Where they go from there, I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Have you heard of them being in Australia?
Well, I tell you that Lover's Lane up there, there's quite a few things. It's evil up there.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Have you heard of them being in Australia? To be honest, I think that in America area, I think that maybe Wendigo and Skinwalkers and that can be in quite a few different areas. You know.
Yeah. Well, there's Dingo and there's Chikara. Chapakai, they're all in betweens, and they're in Australia. There's like, you got to keep in mind, in betweens are going to become what's afraid of in that area. So, Christine, the simple answer to that is, what creature that lives in the outskirts of civilizations, bushes, towns, deserts, whatever, that everyone is terrified of, that nobody can prove, that's going to be them. That's going to be in between. Okay? In betweens are everywhere, you know?
Yeah, they are everywhere, and just be really cautious and be really careful.
Like
Obviously,
Green
I
Lady,
don't like.
the Green Lady, the Lady of the Mist, they're in betweens too. Not all in betweens are evil, right?
No.
Not all of them are evil. There are a few that, but they all are revengeful and they all are justification, right? So, like the Lady in the Woods, the Deer Lady, the Green Lady, the Green Man, all these type, the Water Witch, they're they're all full of revenge, but only if it's what they consider to be a justifiable revenge. If a man goes in the bush and he's beat his wife a few times and runs into the deer woman, he's dead. She's gonna kill him. Okay. If you treat your woman like shit, that bitch, that's it. You're done. You're dusted. But if you treat your spouse with respect and you run into the deer lady, she's just gonna look at you and walk away. She had nothing to do with you, right? It'll be an experience you'll never forget, but she won't hurt you if you're respectable to your spouse. If you're not respectable to your spouse, they're going to find you in 10 or 12 pieces. Okay?
Exactly.
That's where we are. So I guess the takeaway would be that some in-betweens are just nasty, right? But what they're doing is they're doing for their own survival. They're going to eat you, yeah, but they're starving. They're evil, and they cause a lot of evil shit. But to them, it's life. That's the way life is. There are other in-betweens that are all about justice. Justice for women, justice for children, justice for men. Okay? They're all about
different types.
They're not there to destroy anything. But if you destroyed what they protect, right?
Excuse me, guys.
Witchcraft, druidism, all this other stuff. Witchcraft is all about protection most of the time, right? But if you do something against that witch's family, guess what? You're screwed because now it's revenge, right? Now it's protection for the family, right? Well, it's the same thing with in-betweens. Okay? Some of them are evil, period. But some humans are evil, period.
Oh, yeah, you can see the way our world is today.
Right? So
exactly.
So, are all skinwalkers evil? Maybe, maybe not. Anyone that I've ever had to deal with was.
You can never really fully you can't really fully say, like.
Yeah, and it's above my pay grade,
Yeah, there's good and bad.
In all seriousness,
in everything.
In all seriousness, I've been at this 50 years. I have over 3,000 cases, as everybody knows this, right? I still don't know squat. Okay, I don't know shit about nothing. Okay, I only know about the little crappy shit that I've done in this 50 years. I only know the crap that I've done. Okay, there's so much shit out there I haven't got a clue about. Okay, I ain't got a hope in hell of understanding a lot of it. Okay, hence the reasons I don't get involved in ufology or cryptoids and stuff, because I'm already overbooked. I've already got so much shit on my plate. I cannot put nothing else on there. Okay. And when it comes to demons, when it comes to spirit world, when it comes to paranormal of that nature, I don't know squat. I just know what I know.
I don't know. Just talking to you this short little time here, I've learned a lot just in this little time.
He's a very acknowledgeable man.
I could listen to Danny all freaking night long.
You can see why I'm I get a lot of my insight from him and stuff like that. I don't want to have to do this, but obviously this show is running through Bold and Bonkers and stuff like that. Okay, guys, so this show does need to end, and I just want to say thank you to Pups and to Curtis for coming up and joining me tonight and talking to you guys about the Skinwalker and the Wendigo a little bit more, and having a little bit more insight on other spirits as well. So that's been absolutely awesome. I'm also going to say keep an eye out for the lads over the weekend as well for both of their shows at 10 p.m. UK time. Next week on Lost Magics will be myself doing a interview with the Smith family. Then the following week after that, I am going to be doing the story and the history of hauntings with Count Dracula's castle, guys.
Oh man.
Which has not been heard about very much on YouTube, so I'm going big on this one.
And one of these days, real quick, me and Pop are going to get together and we'll just discuss about
Yes.
whatever.
And we can have, I might try and organise something so you can come up on the show with me and that, Pups, and we can just have a chat day, like where we talk to people about
anything at all, Pop. Anytime,
I
Pop.
would like
I'm
it. I
there
would
for
like
you.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
good
Chris.
meeting you, Danny.
Curtis, I hope to see you again. I really like you. You're a pretty cool dude. Okay.
Thank
Like
you. You are too.
Stuff. And if you got any questions or you need help with anything or whatever, get a hold of me or my pup, and we're here for you, buddy. Okay.
All right, Danny. Thank you, man. I will.
You're not, and I believe in what you say. So
exactly. And he's a really cool guy. I've only just come across him, and he is really, really down to earth, and he's brought some really good stuff to my show. So I do
like the
appreciate
guy.
it a lot.
What can I say?
But
all right, everybody, take care. Blessings. Love you, Pop.
Pups. Thank you for coming up.
Bye.
Love you. Blessings. Right, and to everybody in the room, I just want to say a very big thank you for coming and supporting us. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of our supporters, our sponsors, to the Bold and Bonker Boys for allowing my show, to lovely Curtis and my pups for coming up and joining me and making this show even more awesome than it already was. To all of our guys in the room, obviously, all of our supporters, our fam, we love you all. Without you, we cannot do this. So remember, guys, to stay awesome and stay true. Look out for all of the shows for the next couple of weeks, and I'll see you all very, very soon. And lots of love and light, and I will see you all very, very soon. Would you like to say anything quickly, Curtis?
I loved it. Oh my God, it was so great to meet Danny. He's a walking dictionary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of the paranormal and the strange and the unknown.
It's just, what a time. I would like to sit there for 3 or 4 hours. All right, I better let you go.
Thank you all, guys, and a merry parting to you all, and we'll see you all very soon, and stay spooky, guys. I'm just going to play out the intro of the show again, and the end of the show, sorry, a bit, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Be sure to visit baldandbonkers.net for all of our amazing projects and sneak peeks of what is to come.